name is Shelley Rainey, and today I wanted to take a moment to share my story. And thinking about last year and how tough of a year that was for everybody. I mean, I know everyone had to be affected by everything that happened with the pandemic and losing loved ones, losing jobs, losing lifestyles. It was just a tough year. But I realize a lot of people right now are facing grief. And it's not easy. It's not easy, and I know about it all too well. I've lost plenty, well, some that are very, very, very close to my heart. I lost three children, and I lost not one, but two dads, both my dads. And those were very hard, especially, when I lost my daughter back in 2000. I couldn't understand. That was the hardest thing at that time for me because I went into labor and I had her 28 weeks and she was stillborn. That was hard. That was hard. And I went through a deep state of depression, deep state of depression. And a couple years later, found myself in the same situation again. And I lost my second child. And in talking with the doctors, they let me know that I had health issues. And the one doctor told me, she said, I hate to be able to tell you this, to be the one to tell you this, and I'm so, so sorry. However, you won't be able to have children. You know, um, she told me that I would be able to carry, but I wouldn't, they would not survive, you know, and because of tumors and things like that. And they wanted to do surgery, and that would have totally ended any possibility that there was for me to have any children. Well, I didn't want to accept that at that time. So I had an appointment the following week to go in for surgery. Needless to say, I didn't show up. I dismissed it and I kept going because I didn't want to accept that. And in going through everything that I'd gone through, it was pretty tough. It was challenging. And um, a year later, and I'm so glad, let me back up and say, I'm so glad that I did not accept that. I did not accept that as my fate, because I grew up in a household where I was the oldest of six. It was six of us that grew up in the household together. And I wanted a whole house full of children. But unfortunately, that was not in the plan for me. And a year later, I wound up having my miracle daughter, who is now 16 years old. And that goes to show you that miracles can happen because based on my health, based on the doctor's reports, that was not supposed to happen. Now, that was a very challenging pregnancy and very challenging birth. We almost lost her, but she's here, healthy, 16 years old. And I'm so grateful. But in 2008, when she was just three, me and my husband found ourselves pregnant again. And it was tough because I went through a lot of health issues again. And I was so afraid because I knew what happened the previous times, two other times. And this time I delivered a 1 pound, 5.5 ounce baby girl. Her name is Victoria. They said she had the strongest lungs. At that point, they told me she was pretty healthy, other than the fact that she was a preemie. She was very small. But I was so grateful. And I was like, wow, God, you did it again. I have my second baby girl who is, healthy. She's going to be strong. Once she gains enough weight, I'm going to take her home from the hospital. She's going to be great. She's beautiful. Oh my gosh, my daughter was 3 at the time. She was so excited to be a big sister, to become a big sister. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm a big sister. And she was, but that situation did not work out the way that I planned, the way that I thought it would, because she wound up passing away just under a month old. Another devastating situation for me. And talk about depression. Oh my gosh, I had gone through the depression and it was pretty difficult to navigate through that. And just when I felt like my heart couldn't take anymore, a few years later, my dad passed away. And this is my very first time talking about that because that situation is very painful. You know, I'm what you call a daddy's girl. And my dad passed away, and we were very close, but it was unexpected. And I don't know if it's a combination of all of the losses, but that one is the one that kind of really, you know, I thought that I wasn't going to make it out of that one because the depression ran so deep. The grief ran so deep. It was so hard. But I am here today because I wanted to share with each and every one of you and let you know that no matter how deep the grief runs, no matter how bad the situation is, no matter how deep the grief and the sadness, no matter how bad it is, there is hope. And although it's a process and we take it every day, day by day by day, and we feel that our hearts can't take too much more. And grief is one of the hardest things to process, especially if it's unexpected. And I also lost my other dad just a couple years ago. And I am one, if anyone knows me, I always have the biggest smile on my face. And it's actually pretty genuine because through my faith and the support of family and friends, I'm able to tell you that you can make it. And although it might not look like it right now, and everywhere you look around, it's just a feeling of sadness, of depression, of grief, but you can make it. It's a daily process. And there's no time limit on the process because everyone, they deal differently and things have to happen in their own time. But I'm here to tell you that I was actually carried through that process. I still miss my dad. I do. I still cry at times. But I realized that life didn't stop there and I had to keep pushing forward. But I couldn't do that on my own. I could not do that on my own. And I share my entire story in my book entitled The Fragile Heart. And you all can pick it up for absolutely free. All you have to do is go to shelleyrainey.net and you can pick up a copy of The Fragile Heart. And here it is right here. And you can actually pick up that copy because if you're going through, my entire story is in this book. And I share with you how I was able to navigate through those dark nights, through those dark times, through the times where I did not think that I would make it, through the times where I felt like this is it. I, it I can't see a light at the end of the tunnel. There's no light. I can't see anything. But in my deepest, darkest hour, I did get a glimmer of hope. I did. And again, I'll share that in my book. So I just wanted to come on, share my story. And for all of you that are really going through that tough time, that basically have lost someone near and dear to you, where you feel like your heart has been broken into so many pieces, I'm here to tell you, you can make it. You can. You can. And again, I thank you all for listening. And again, go to ShellyRainey.net. I'll leave the link below and just pick up your free copy of the ebook entitled The Fragile Heart. And I'm sure that there's something in there that will be able to encourage you to go on, to press through to another day, just to get to another day. Because I know what it's like to be numb. I know what it's like to have so many days go by and you forget where you are, what day it is, because the sadness and the grief, it ran so deep. But right now I'm here and I am in a place of peace. And I could not have done that on my own. So again, go to ShellyRainey.net. And I thank you all for taking the time to listen. God bless you all.